Welcome to Watercolors with Karen. I am so excited about today's project because we are going to paint this rooster. We have so far painted a white chicken, some flowers, a cat, a horse. I'm trying to think what else, a little hummingbird with some flowers, several things. But now we're going to paint this beautiful rooster. I'll show you the reference photo, but I actually changed a little bit because I felt he was looking off too much to the side here. So I brought his face back around so we get more of his face. So this is a really, really fun project, because you can use all these wonderful colors and we're just going to have fun with it, and I want you to have fun with it. So always I like to put the background in first, and that's what we're going to do. I've taped this down, hopefully good, and sometimes you just need to run your finger along this really good so that water from the background doesn't get into it. And I'm going to use a nice, really nice washy brush. I always use the same for my backgrounds, and you're probably tired of hearing this because I've said it so many times. But this background one I like to use is the Skoda Reserva Kalinsky, and it's just great for holding loads of water. So that's what we're gonna do. So let's get started, and as always, we're going to wet that background so thoroughly. Now today, I'm really in danger of having my background dry out quickly. Number one, I have a fan right above me, and when you have that, unfortunately, it dries it out. We are getting new air conditioners for upstairs in my studio installed, but not until another week and a half. And so prematurely, this was really crazy on my part, I said, well, let's just go ahead and sell our window air conditioners. Downstairs, we have central air, but for some reason, it just doesn't go up very good upstairs. So anyway, of course, put the ad out and sold them right away, and then it turned super hot, and I'm like, great. So now I have this overhead fan which dries out really fast, but we're just gonna have to work fast. So I'm wetting. I probably will just extra wet it to make sure it stays nice and wet, so I can get a nice blue sky background is what I want to do. And we're going to have some fluffy clouds, and try to get around here as easily as I can, or carefully I should say. So luckily there's not a whole lot of background here. We're going to do this somewhat similar background to what we did with our little white chicken. Now, I don't care that I'm going to cover up his legs, because this part is going to be more of a gold, and this part's going to be all blue. So it's okay if we cover this up, because I'm going to make those legs kind of goldish. I took this rooster picture on a farm, I think it was last year. Yeah, it was. And I was at an orchard, and we went to get peaches. And I got so distracted to even get my peaches because they had these gorgeous chickens and roosters, and I love to paint this kind of thing. It's just fun, and it's fairly fast. You're gonna see, we're gonna be able to finish this one in pretty darn good time. So there we go. All right, let's hope that is wet enough and we can get going. Okay. So I am going to start with my famous, nope, don't want to do that, sorry. I'm going to start with Verditer Blue, and that's made by Holbein. Now, again, I know you've heard this a million times, and you're probably like, oh my gosh, if we have to hear it again. But you got to hear it again. So watercolors dry, lighter. So we need to make sure we put plenty of color in that background, because it is going to dry lighter. And especially where I'm using so much water, that's gonna really make a difference as well. So I'm going to add a little horizon blue, also made by Holbein, but I want to get a little bit more. So you can see we're just going to kind of leave the idea of some clouds. And I think we'll bring this guy down just about here. I'm going to grab some paper towel really quick because it's going to set under my tape and I don't want it to do that. So looks like I got plenty of water. Now look at this. Sometimes things like that happen. I don't know why. Little particles of color. But if it's still wet enough, you can just take it right out. Now I don't want to take too much of this blue away because I want my clouds to show. I'm going to grab some of that color right there. Okay, now for a little horizon blue. Let's drop some of that in. This is such a pretty color, and I think it just works really well with the sky. It just kind of gives it a little, I don't know, summery look. So pretty. We'll just bring her down to here, just put spots of it here and there. All right. I still think that I need a little bit more color. I'm mostly worried about it drying too light. So I'm just going to drop a little more in here. And then we'll start on our yellow. And that's going to be raw sienna. So get that, make sure I got all my little things done. That's looking pretty good. I'm going to drop just a little bit more of this horizon blue. I found out about horizon blue at a workshop, and I don't want quite that much, sorry. And I'd never heard of it before. And boy, that's one nice thing about going to workshops or listening to YouTube videos. You get some hints that you just don't know or haven't tried. I love to try new colors, and we're going to try a fairly new color. I've only used it a couple times today. So kind of looking forward to that, and we'll see how that works. I've got a little bit of a shadow here. It's not the paper, it's just a shadow right here. It could be, not sure what that is. Well, we're just gonna work around it. Okay, so I think that's good for this part. And now we're gonna go down to our raw sienna. We're just gonna drop this in, just kind of melt that right into the blue. This has been kind of a fun week. I got challenged to show my art for 7 days. So I've been on my Facebook and putting in a different picture every day, and I was thinking, oh man, I got to get a video out this week because I've tried to get them out once a week. I'm going to cover up the feet with the same color because that's the base color we're going to use anyway. But with that said, I suddenly realized I haven't gotten a video out yet, so I thought, oh, I love, love, love to paint chickens. So this rooster is top billing for today. All right. Now, as you know, as soon as I use this much water, I'm going to dry it, but we will block out most of the drying. You'll see me start to dry, and you'll see me finish drying, but other than that, you won't have to wait for the long, boring drying. I want to add just a little bit more of this. I want it to be dark, even though we're going to put some other colors down at the bottom. This is just good for now. So good. I think we're ready to dry. All right, we have it dried, and it's lifting up a little bit from my tape, having it so wet. So I'm just going to put a little more tape down, and just about done with this one. But I want to do that, so I'm trying to keep this so it's in your view, but I'm going to just lift it up and put a little bit down so that will stay down. Oh yeah, this is super wet. I guess I got it really wet, worried about that fan overhead. but that's okay. It's, yeah, pretty wet there. Let me just get a paper towel. See, I should have done this while I was drying, right? Then you wouldn't have to see all of the little mistakes and stuff. But you know what? As I was drying, I found that when I touched the paper towel where I got it into the chicken, hope that's right. Hope that makes you see good. Anyway, right here, some of it lifted up. And I was going to fix it, and I thought, no, I want to show you what to do, what you can do to fix that when that happens. And it can happen. You start to do something, and you might accidentally lift a little up. So we're going to fix that really quick. I want to show you how very easy that is. So I'm going to get just a number 8 round. It's a long round by Princeton Velvet Touch. And I'm going to change out my water. Nope, not yet, because I want to use the same blue water. So it is kind of where I had the Verdita blue and a little bit of the Horizon blue. But I'm going to start with Verdita blue. I'm going to turn this right here upside down, and it has to be really dry to do this. And I'm going to take it right next to my chicken like this. Now that looks really bad right now. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to soften this out just along the edge to cover that up. And if I just work it a little bit, I think it's just going to be totally fine. Goodness, I really did get that wet. So I'm going to try from this angle, upside down chicken, just to try to get that back. It's just because this is so super duper wet. Okay, so let me put it upright, and hopefully I get it so you can see it really good. And you can barely tell in there. When we have that chicken and all the feathers, it's going to be good. Okay, I'm happy with the colors. There's a little bit of a wash right here. I'm going to show you something else I can do. These are just little tricks that I've learned along the way, and they really make a difference if you want your picture just to be, I don't know, perfect. I don't think anything needs to be just perfect, but let's say really good. So I'm going to get some clean water here. And right in here, I'm going to actually turn that into part of a cloud. Now, I do need to be really careful. So I'm going to use this little bit of a scrubber brush, and I'm just going to take a really gentle touch and just kind of soften this out a little bit. And it will just look like a piece of cloud that was meant to be all along. I'm going to put a little bit more. Trust me, I have such a light touch right now. I am not disturbing the paper in any way. Just going to go right up the top of my paper and pull that down. And look at that. It just looks like we have a cloud there that was natural all along to match these clouds. So I want you to see things like that, that we can all make little bloopers, but it's how we can fix them. That's what's important. All right, so the first thing I want to do is we're going to put in part of this eye. They always have kind of a gold behind it, so I'm going to use a little mixture. I think we're just going to go to yellow ochre. And so this outer rim here is going to be yellow ochre, and I can't put the black in yet because that would just run into it. So we'll just leave it for now, and then we can close a little bit more of that right there. Okay, that's a very simple fix. Now for the beak, since we already have that color, let's just go ahead and use that same yellow ochre. It'll have more colors later, but for right now, we'll just put that little beak in, just like that. All right, now I'd like to go to the comb, and one of the colors that I love for the comb is Scarlet Lake. It's such a beautiful color, and it's made by get my words straight. It is made by Holbein. And look at it, it's just kind of an orangey red, and it's just perfect for this lovely comb that we're going to be doing. So nice. And we'll just bring this all up and give him this lovely comb. You see that I got a little bit of blue in the top of it, but that's not a big deal. We're just going to cover this whole thing up with this beautiful, beautiful color. And I left a little bit of white there, but I'm not going to worry about that either, because we can always drop a little piece of blue in later. Okay, so just getting all this lovely color in. I don't know how many of you have actually seen roosters, but they always have, well, I shouldn't say always. You can certainly raise chicken without roosters, but if you want to continue to get your little chicken crop bigger, you'll need to have a rooster. And anyway, so every farm that I've been to that has roosters, oh my goodness, you see why people say they're just kind of strut. Because these roosters, they're full of character, but they know they are kingpin, and they are territorial about their little roosters, or their hens, I should say. And but they're so fun to watch. They're so fun, and they're so colorful, especially this particular kind. Really, really love it. So we're going to leave that for now. We're going to actually put some more things in later, but for right now, I like that really bright color. And then here, we're going to put a little bit more Scarlet Lake. And I want to continue this color down here. And let's see. We may not, we'll make it pretty bright still. I want to come close to the eye, but it's probably dry already just because of my fan overhead. Let me get a little closer here. Usually I'm working on a horizontal, and this is all vertical, so I have to kind of move in a little closer. As when we painted that little white chicken, I'm not sure what those little things are called, but this chicken has a really dark blue, whatever that is. Some of them are white, but this one has a dark blue. So we're just going to go around this eye, knowing that we're going to come back. Whoa, I got in a little bit to my yellow, but that's all right. I think what I found, the longer I paint, things can be fixed, and they don't have to be like a panic mode. I used to like, oh, I've ruined it. But you really can fix most anything, even with watercolor, especially if you start using transparent paints. And that means they lift easier, and you can go back and just fix a lot of stuff. So it's kind of nice, isn't it, to be able to know you can do that. So another little piece of personal information. You may or may not like my little tidbits, but here goes anyway. So we have planned since December a trip to the coast, to the Oregon coast. And I just got one of them canceled. And I'm like, no, but it's on the way back, so it isn't as tragic. And I'm just hoping we're going to be able to make the rest of our trip. Oh my goodness, it is so hard during this time. And this is nothing compared to the seriousness of what some people have faced. So I don't want to in any way minimize that my trip is so important. But so far, I have gotten entered into 2 shows, canceled. I had a show that I was going to show my artwork in June, the first Sunday in June, canceled. I had a trip for a workshop and never been to Maui, and I was going to do that, canceled. I'm supposed to be in a show, Nampa Lakeview Park. I can't even remember the name of it, but it's kind of like Nampa Art in the Park in a sense. That's in August. I don't know if that's going to cancel or not, so I don't know. It's kind of discouraging. So I'm really hoping this Oregon coast will work. We'll find out. Okay, this is going to be dry enough, and I'm going to mix me up some sepia. Sepia, you can almost get any brand. It's just a brown black. It's really pretty. And a little bit of Payne's Gray. And right here. And we don't even need very much because this little eye is just teeny. Now, I want to do a catch light in the eye, okay? And I like to put that in. I'm going to get just a little bit more. There, that's darker like I want. If you can't, if you don't get your catch light in, and catch lights really make a difference, this little Doc Martin, or actually it's Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. Oh my goodness, it is a lifesaver. So it makes a great little pop, and some little feathers and stuff too that's fun. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tip of this and draw me a little tan. I don't know if you can see it. That's so little, but I'm going to draw me a little place so I don't fill it in. And that's what I'm going to try to do. And I'm using this tip here. I love this brush. It's a very reasonable brush, and I think I've told you several times about it. But it has such a great tip, and it's pretty darn cheap, so it's kind of fun. Now look at this, would be a cute white chicken, but we already did a white chicken, so this one's going to be our beautiful, beautiful, different chicken. Okay, I'm going to use some cobalt, which may sound really strange, but in this little thing, whatever that thing is on his cheek, is kind of blue. And that's just first coat, and we're going to go back and put some darker color in. In fact, one of the things I told you, we're going to use a new color. I've squeezed it out a few times, but it's called Royal Blue by Holbein. It's a new color to me. May not be a new color to you, but it's really a beautiful dark, dark, dark blue, and I'm liking it. So I think as soon as that dries, look at that, that just wants to spread right into my red, which means I didn't get my red dry enough. Okay, so we're also going to put, see if that beak is dry. He's got a little bit of blue on his beak. So we're just going to get a little bit of blue here and put it there. And I see a little bit right here. And I'm going to soften that out because we want that blue to show, but just to be, the majority of this beak is this really pretty gold. So we just soften it out. It just works out really nice. And then for the rest of the beak, we're going to use what's called gamboge. And it's a brighter kind of gold, but I'm going to mix a little bit of this yellow ochre that we already used in it. Yeah, I think that looks better. Oh my goodness, I am running everywhere. Well, you are just seeing how well I'm painting today, aren't you? My goodness, don't usually have, I thought that little fan would just dry that like crazy, but it looks like it's wanting to bleed out a little bit in my red. So, you know, I'll just kind of put that out a little bit, and we'll just wait and be patient for this. So, let's go down to the feet because we know those are dry. Now, this is where your artist license come in. This particular chicken I took has these gray feet. I just don't like gray feet. And even though that's the way the chicken is, I'm going to turn them into a little bit of gold feet. And we can do that because this is our picture. And if you want gray feet, you do gray feet. And gray feet is just fine. But for me, I want something a little bit golder. So we're going to go back to that yellow ochre, and we're going to go down to here, and just get us, I'm doing a little negative painting right there, and I'll do a little bit here. Now remember, this is not going to be white. This is going to be another color eventually. So let's come down and get these feet in. And the fun thing about chickens or roosters or anything, you can get super whimsical, you can get super serious and make it look exactly like the chicken, or you can just kind of get, I don't know, have fun with it. This is what I want you to do, is have fun with it, because life is too short with too many serious things. Let's enjoy painting and make it fun. Now, again, when you see me doing all these solid colors, just know we'll come back. We'll come back and we'll just put different colors on it so it's just not a solid color. Let's see, I really want to go back to that beak. You know what, it's still a little damp. So I'm going to pop my blow dryer on it for literally just a couple seconds and see if we can't fix that. There we go. That should have gotten it. Okay, so now I'm going to maybe try even a different, I'm going to go to this, it's Windsor Orange, I think that's what it's called. And it's a really pretty color, and you look at that, isn't that beautiful? We're going to just do that. And I'm going to use a little bit of this, even though I don't really totally see it, just to lighten up some of these areas. Look at how that just sets on top of there, and it just gives it a little glow. I really like that. Now this should be dry enough to go back into that really dark one I told you, that royal blue. So when I look at this, it's more, the shade is darker along that edge there. Okay, so we'll just do it like that. Okay, now we're gonna let that dry, and then maybe later I'll drop a little bit more blue in, but not yet because it's really wet. Now here comes the fun part. This is the fun part. So we're going to, I hope I know what I'm doing. I say that because I'm going to try a brand new color that I just got. It's by Stephen Quiller. It's called Transparent Yellow Medium. I have not used this at all, but I want to have it for the under base of my chicken. So right in here is going to be all gold and a little bit right here. So we're going to try it, see what we think. It looks pretty, and because it's transparent, I feel like I have a pretty good chance of it being successful. This is very, very bright, but we're going to put another color over it eventually. So let's just use this. Ooh, isn't that pretty? All right, let's try it. We're gonna put some feathers right here. And I just kind of did a little outline so we'll know where those feathers go. And come right up here. Get around this little rooster. That is bright. Ooh, it's bright. But I think it's going to be pretty. All right. And that color goes clear underneath that little wattle, I guess it's called. Just like that. I'm leaving a few little light streaks. And then some of this goes back here a little bit more too. Now remember, we're going to put, oops, I think I missed. This is actually part of the chicken. Yeah. So we're going to also put this Quinburnt Orange over the top of this. I will let it dry just a moment before I start putting that in. And I think we'll add just a teeny bit more right here. And I'm going to show you eventually some negative painting where we're going to put that really pretty blue up in here. We're going to put all kinds of different colors. So I don't want to rush it though, because if I rush it, it's going to just spread in a way I don't want it to spread. However, this should be dry enough now I can start putting a little bit of detail. So I'm also going to use the Quin Burnt Orange on this comb. So I want to get it fairly dark there. And go on the underside a little bit, or I should say the top side, but that's what I want to do, right down here. Soften that out on the top, and we'll put a little bit more right here. Now sometimes when I do that and I get it really nice and wet, I like to drop two colors, kind of mingle some colors. So I'm going to go back to that really pretty Scarlet Lake and drop just a little bit of that in here. And then I want to show you a little trick. While that's wet, I'm going to lift just a little bit of this out with my brush, just to give it some lightness here and there. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm just using a very damp brush, just lifting a little of this paint out, just a little bit. And we'll put a little bit towards here, lift a little bit of that out as well. And I feel like we need a little more in his wattle, but first I want to put this little comb or wattle goes here, has some nice little, I might even go to a little burnt umber. He's got some areas that kind of divide like that, and we'll soften those out. And then I am going to add a little bit more of our really pretty Scarlet Lake and get that a little bit darker. There's definitely some up by his other areas too, up by here. So we'll go back to that. So let's go to this burnt umber again and add a little bit of this Quin Burnt Orange, and we'll put some right in here where it goes a little shadowed and a little darker. And soften out. And then we'll add some more of that. And I'm just using what's on my palette. I'm not even adding at this point anymore. There we go. Okay. And I see like I want to lift a little bit out right here where that wattle kind of comes down here. And right here, if I look at my reference photo, there's a nice little streak right there. Okay, that is good. So let's go back to our Quin Burnt Orange. We're going to get it really dark. And this is fun. This is where the fun begins, to me anyway. It's color upon color, and it's so fun. Okay. So see how thick I got that? I hope that you can see that. Really nice and thick. So we're gonna come down. You know, I'm almost thinking I want a bigger brush to get this job done. I do. So I'm gonna have to get a little bit more. I want it to really spread in some nice big feathery, like, this might be a little big, but let's take it down like this. And I'm just letting my brush do the work now. And, okay, now watch this. So I'm going to take it down and press and lift up, press and lift up. So it looks like he's got a bunch of feathers here. Now this part I'll just paint in, and this part here along the edge. Although we could just do a few little ones like this. And then we'll come down here. Same thing. Like this. So it's just giving us this beautiful, beautiful yellow underneath. But we have some really pretty chicken's feathers here. Now, while that's wet, I'm going to go back to my little brush. And there's a really dark piece right up here and along here. So I'm going to go back to that burnt umber and mix a little of that. So I want it to be really rich. And I think I'll add just a little bit of my Quin Burnt Orange. And right in here, let's just make that really dark. And it's wet enough that it shouldn't blossom. We should be able to just mingle that in there. And right in here, we're going to carry that down a little bit, and then right along here. Now, I don't want to make it look like I just did a line, so I'm going to carry this down like that, so it looks more natural. There we go. Okay, loving it. And I feel like this beak definitely needs this blue, but I want to get some lighter on the edge of it. So I'm going to go just a little bit more blue here in this triangle. And then I'm going to lift some on the tip. So we'll soften this out a little bit. Okay. And then we're going to lift some, and I might even have to resort to my scrubber brush. And I was going to show you, as if you've watched my other videos, you know you can't get my scrubber brush like I have here because it is non-existent. But these are the next best thing. I just ordered these off Amazon, and they're called, I'll put them a little higher so maybe you can see it, Creative Mark scrubber brushes. And the ones I got anyway come in a 3-pack. There's a 6, 12, and I don't even know what that little one is. I probably have one in here. Now, they're not as, this is between soft and stiff. These are a little stiffer. So I have to tell you, you have to use an even softer touch if you use these. This one's close to this size here. So I would be using this one and this little teeny one. It makes great veins in your leaves, and just a little lift off is kind of cool. So anyway, I am going to lift just a little bit of that gold off right here. Yes, I like that way better. It just got too dark, so that feels good. Now, we're going to, I think I'm going to use this blue. Let's see, what brush do I want now? I'm going to go to a little, no, I think we're okay. I'm going to, this is a big one. Kind of gets scary sometimes, huh? But I think we're going to do it. So I'm going to make this, look how pretty that is, this royal blue. I think it'll be really, really pretty because this chicken has a lot of royal blue. So I'm going to mix up more water in this. It's going to be very dark. And I think, hopefully this is dry enough. So we're going to do a little negative painting here, meaning that we're going to keep some of this like this. So I want some of this yellow to show through. So all I'm doing is kind of making like triangles down there. Now here, it goes to a lighter blue. So I'm going to go back to my Verditer blue, and while that's still wet, pick up a little bit of this Verditer blue right here. I'm going to join this together
I'm going to come to about right here. And I feel like this is where I want to stop right here. So I'm going to just tickle this down because I'm not ready to go further yet. And that's a really strong color. So we'll just, this is our stopping zone. Okay, but I want to drop a little bit more dark in here, right in there, because the contrast isn't as much where I added the lighter blue. So I really, really want that just to be contrasted. And since this is wet, this should be an okay stopping zone. Now, if I'm looking at my picture, there's definitely a little bit of turquoise in here. So I want to just to, this is called cobalt turquoise. And I'm going to drop, oh boy, I take a really big chance of this blossoming. Do I want to do that or not? Not sure. Let's just try a little of it. See what happens. Yeah, it's a good transition down to that blue. We'll just soften that right there. Okay, no, we're good. Okay, so now underneath here, it's got that same blue, but then it's got this Quin Burnt Orange. This is by Daniel Smith. And so I want to make sure before I start that blue that I have plenty of Quin Burnt Orange in there to pick that up. And in that color, I might even add a little bit of our Scarlet Lake because it's a bright one. It's a really bright one. So yeah, I'm gonna add just a little bit of that. So that's ready. And I can see on this royal blue that I need to pick up a little bit more of this, but I'm liking the royal blue so far. I don't usually, haven't used this before, so this is a good experiment. So we're gonna get this. It's kind of thick right now because I just poured it fresh from the palette. Okay, now these lines are not as big, so we're just gonna come up here and we're gonna do still a little bit of negative painting. So like literally make your triangles like this and then pick them up down here. Just like that. And then, while that's really wet, I'm going to come over to here too. I'm going to go to this color here. Aren't these colors fun? Whoa, they are so pretty. Okay, so now I want to let that mingle in with that and take it down here. Some of it may mix in, and that's okay. Ooh, I think I should have mixed up a little bit more, but if we work fast, we can do it. And I'll add a little more of that Scarlet Lake and just let that mingle down. Now, I'm leaving a space because that blue is going to go back in there. Okay, so I want to have that wet so that mingles in there. So dry my brush, pick up this, and this one we don't really have to negative paint. We can just let it kind of run in there. And that color, I'm feeling like I want a little more of this in here, just a little bit. So I want that really dark. I know I'm just redoing the same thing I just did, but this is where it's really pretty. And I'm going to try a different color. This is called Peacock, and it's really, really pretty. And I'm going to drop a little of this Peacock in here. I think that's even a better color for that. And that, see how that mingles really nice? Now that Peacock color actually comes down here a little bit more. So I'm going to grab a little bit more of this and come down this feather here, and now we're going to come up into this red just a little bit, because all down here is that dark, dark blue again with little pops of that red. So I gotta be careful and let that dry a little bit, or that's gonna float up into here. Now remember, I said on a stopping place, you gotta kinda bring that down because we're not quite ready for that yet. Now, back in here, it has kind of more of a gold, and then it comes down. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So there's that peacock. I've exaggerated a little bit. There's the dark blue. We could have brought this down a little bit more, but I didn't, and it's okay. And then we're going to start putting this red down here, and that peacock is going to blend. But I want those to dry so the peacock, or this mixture here, will go over this. Now this is really, really dark blue. Then we have some peacock feathers here, some dark. But you know what? You don't have to be married to this picture. You can do entirely different colors. And that's the beauty of this. You can have fun with it, and I want you to have fun with it. So I think I'm going to go back to some yellow ochre mixed with a little bit of that yellow right in here, and just give me some ideas that there's some chicken feathers in here. And I know this is going to be wet a little bit, and I want it to slide in here a little bit, right in there, which obviously blue and yellow make a green, and this is good because I want that to have a transition there. Okay, and then we are going to put a little bit of that dark, dark blue here, but I think we're ready to go into here again and just put some of this warm, beautiful blue, royal blue. It's going to creep in there a little bit, but it's not going to be bad. Okay, so here I want to do some of that peacock colors down here where it gets a little bit lighter. So we're going to go back to that, not peacock feathers, peacock color. So we're just going to do that. We're going to mix that with here, and I'm just making some fun little strokes here. Isn't that fun? Look at, I'm just letting the brush do the work for me. And I don't want this to intimidate you. Please don't let it intimidate you, because it's just fun and it's colorful and it's just anybody can do it. Look at this. I keep running out of this color though. My goodness. It's taking up a lot. Okay, we'll just put a little bit more. All right. I want to get it kind of thick down here. So I'm going to go back in here. I know that I could blossom, but when you put a darker color over, you have a less chance of a blossom. But if you put a lighter color over, you're going to blossom. So we're going to make part of this separate. So we're going to go all the way down here with this beautiful dark blue. And I'm using this one right here. See if it'll tell me. It's a 12. It's a Jack Richardson. I like Jack Richardson. I used to just only use Low Cornell, and I've used them for years and years, and I'm so bummed because they don't make that anymore. Some company bought them out, I can't remember, and we all thought that they were going to just continue to carry it. But that's where it's kind of fun to find out what kind of colors people are using, or paintbrushes, and it's nice if you don't have to try them, trial and error, if you have to order online. However, if you go to a really good art store, they're so good about letting you try the brushes, and that's what you want to do before you purchase a brush, especially if it's going to be a little more costly. Okay, so this color here, I want to get a little bit more of that orangey color that we put up here, and I want to Yeah, that just kind of gives me what I want there. And now, believe it or not, this color here is going to start coming down here. Now, I hope you see that this really is not hard. It's just, I want you to just use your imagination. And if you don't have the same colors I do, don't worry about it. It's more important that you have fun with it and just use your imagination. Like I said, we can just bring some feathers down like this. So all I'm doing is making brush strokes, just brush strokes. And this is where a bigger brush kind of helps, because you can do this and use the tip to your advantage. Okay, let's see. So we're going to have, I want that to go up in my gold just a little bit. It'll run a little bit, but I think it'll be pretty. We're going to make some of these a little bit shorter here, right in there. Okay, look how pretty that is. And you don't even have to worry, it's just fun. And then I'm going to take this dark blue again and go in between here. Look at my gunky water, but it's okay. All right, so now in here, even though it's still wet and I know it, I'm going to take some little teeny feathers like this. Just kind of whisk them in here. Okay. So we still have that really pretty orange, but now we're starting to get into the blue. So right here, this is going to be blue. And I can always come back with this and get a little bit more, but I want to catch these colors. Okay. Let's see. This just looks like it goes right down to his little feet. So I'm going to put some short feather-like motions like this that come right down to his feet. And this actually needs to be a little darker so that you can tell that that's a separate wing. So that's what we're doing. We're just put that in there. Later, what I might do when it is dry is pop some of that turquoise back in here. Okay, so let's get right down here. This is blue too. And I want to negative paint a little bit of this. This is kind of rough negative painting. It's not fantastic. But that gives us an idea that those little feathers come through. I don't care that there's white stuff. In fact, I kind of like it. So I've got some little white popped out here and there. Okay, so now we get to do the feathers. This is so fun. So that first one is kind of gold, kind of black. But you know what? I think I'm going to do it this color because this is our rooster and we can do what we want. And since he's so colorful, I think we should just take this. Ooh, and I want to get a little bit more of that Scarlet Lake right in here. And I'm just going to go like this. And yeah, look at that. And then I'm going right onto my tape because it's going to run off the page, and I know that, and that's okay. And then it has some of that really, really, really dark, but it also has some of that really, really pretty like peacock color. So I'm trying to think if I want to do the peacock color first and then put in the dark. I think I will. So I'm going to get a bunch of it. I'm going to go straight from the well, and I'm going to take these colors like this. Look how pretty. All right, and I'm going to just take like this, and then we got some short ones, and I'm going to come back here. Oop,
I went in the wrong one, but that's okay. And it's gonna run a little bit there. And we don't have to even follow our lines exactly, and that makes it kind of fun. Okay, so we're gonna do this. We want a bigger feather here. I can just do this. And so this is our undercoating, this turquoise, or this peacock. So we're gonna go like this, and this. So by using a big brush like this, I can just flatten it out. I'm gonna put a little bit, they usually have a little bit of fluff right here. And I want to leave that one white for now. Maybe I'll change it later. Okay, so different directions, because we're still gonna put that dark, dark blue on top of that. And I think just a little bit more. And look at this, we've almost got us a rooster. We gotta work on those feet a little bit. Okay. I kind of like where it comes down like that. I think it looks good. So I'm not gonna change that. Okay, so now this is where this really dark blue again is gonna come into play. And do I need some more? Yes. My goodness, I didn't think it would take this much. But it is. I think it'll be worth it though. Doesn't it look so pretty? I mean, it's crazy. This is not like, if honestly, I have done a rooster where it's like kind of perfection. That's kind of what I want. But this one, I just didn't care. I wanted it to be fun and whimsical, and I hope you see that too. Okay, so look at that. I'm gonna put those feathers right over the blue. We don't want to cover it up because we want some of that wonderful, wonderful color to go underneath there like that. Go like this. And by having that lighter underneath, see how we can just get the two different colors. I'm going to put a little bit of this blue right under what we already had. Yeah, I'm liking this. I think I'm just gonna leave this, maybe put one more here. And let's bring that out just a little bit. Okay. Now, where that came in, when that's dry, I want to get just a little bit more color right here of these going over, and I think we can. We'll find out, but it's too wet right now. I think it's too wet. Maybe not. All right, so in that case, let me dry my brush and clean it really good and get just a little bit more of this Quinburn Orange and Scarlet Lake. This time I'm going to use a little more Scarlet Lake because I want that to really make some strokes down like that. Oh yeah, that's pretty. Now remember I told you maybe one this way. And I think, oh, see, this is just fun. You can just play with it. You can just play with it. Let's go. Let's do, remember I talked about putting, since it's dry enough, some of that turquoise right in here. And I think that's going to be really, really pretty. So let's take some of this cobalt turquoise. I'm still going to use my big brush, and I'm going straight from the well. And I want to take some of these little, just like this, like almost commas or something, and just put this right down here. So you can see we are now getting a very whimsical, cute little chicken. I like it. Okay, now if I wanted to go one step further, I have to dry it. I could put some of this on top of this, just a little bit, and it would be really cute too. But let's stop for a minute. I'm gonna get some clean water because this is really dirty. I have seen some artists though use filthy dirty water through the whole entire demo, and picture still turns out great. So it's not like the end of the world, but I just kind of like clean water. Okay, Now, there's a couple little things before I go to the feet that I really want to do. It's funny, here I'm doing like whimsical everywhere, but then there's part of me that also wants to do more realism. So I'm going to take a little of these two colors together. That was the Quin Burnt Orange and a little bit of the black that I did on the eye. I need to move this a little closer to me, and they always have just a little bit of dark around the eye like that. And we'll soften that out so it doesn't look like it's just a ring. But that's what the little chicken does have. And I want to put some of this color right underneath here. Just a little bit. Again, we'll soften this out. Okay. And I've lost a little bit of my yellow. So what do I do in the eye? It's an easy fix. So remember I told you that little pack that I bought? Let's see, I think I have the little one right here. I do. So that little one I showed you is a number 2. So what I'm going to do is use a lot of water, and I'm going to lift just a little of that out by his eye so I can get some of that gold back again. Just got in a little close is all. And I'm not brushing hard, just kind of like that. And I'm gonna let that dry just a little bit, and I'll come back and I'll drop a little bit of gold. Let's go down to these feet, and let's see. I also see that I'm gonna take a little of this color that we made, and I want to put just a little bit more of a mark right here that I see in his face. Now, if you are to the point that you can go to a farm and take a chicken, a picture of a chicken, that is like so cool. If you could do that, that would be really good. But if you can't, they do have some, I like to take my own, but they do have some sites that have where you can get a rooster or a chicken. And I want you to try this. And I would love you to contact me in the comments, and we can just, I would just love to see what you created. I really, really would like that. Okay, so down here on this feet, I am going to take this color that I already had mixed up, and I just want to use a little of that just to kind of give it a little more color down here. I'm not doing it everywhere, just partly, and then I want to soften this out. But I think it will look cute on this, and I still want to go back to that eye because I feel like I've got, it looks funny right now, but I'll fix it. Okay, just like that, just soften that out. That gives them a little bit, and maybe some of this at the very bottom, maybe right up here, here, and maybe here where that little foot comes, or toe, or claw, whatever that is, comes back like that. There we go. Okay, so what I want to do, it should be dry enough. I want to just drop a little bit of this gold right in here. That looks better. And no, I actually like that, but you know what I'm going to show you in a little bit? I'm going to show you where I'm going to put one more little highlight right there. Okay, a little more here where I started to do that. I want to get that just a little bit more. So part of this looks realistic and part of it looks whimsical. So this right here needs to come here. It looks too wide open. So I'm going to close a little of that. I like that better. Okay, we are so almost done. Let's see if this is dry. It's not totally dry, but I think we're gonna be okay to, I hope, whisk a little bit of blue. I better wait for just a little bit. I don't want to run it at this stage. This would be horrible. Let's put our shadow in at the bottom. And I think we're going to use, actually I'm going to use a little of this color, and I'm going to add some of my raw sienna. And maybe some of this yellow. I want it to be darker than what we see, but not too orange. And I feel like, you know what, this is too orange. So, sorry, I'm going to clean this palette a little bit. Hey, artist prerogative, change your mind, right? In my other videos, you may or may not have seen this. Let me see if I can grab one. Well, this has got a little bit, here we go. This has got a little bit of blue on it. But anyway, I love these palettes. They are from World Market. You can order them online if you don't have a World Market in your town. But they are porcelain and they are so fantastic. I think it says World Market, dishwasher safe. I think they're $4.99, $4.99. And I love the way my paint flows on here to where I put it on here. It is such a great, great thing. And I use these all the time. I just broke one the other day, actually dropped it on the floor of all things. But the cool thing is $4.99. And it's lasted me, I've had these for over a year, and they're just wonderful. So just a hint, you don't have to, but they're sure nice to use. Okay, so let's put a little shadow here. So we're just going to use a little of this gold too. Come right up to his feet. And let's just do like a little of this. Come in here with his feet here. We don't want to go too far out here. And I think I want a little bit more Quin Burnt Orange out here. So I'm just kind of giving the shadow where that tail would go. And that is pretty much what I want on the shadow. I really, really do want, yeah, it's dry now. I want to just take some little flecks of this cobalt turquoise. Should I use the big? I think I'm going to use the big. The big brush will give us that real nice, I don't know, shape. See how it's got a nice shape? It will give us that brush shape. So we're just going to take this and just put a few. We don't have to overdo it, but I like that. Just kind of gives it, so we got 3 different colors underneath, and I feel like that is a good thing. Oh yeah, I was gonna show you one thing on this No Bleed White, and then we should be done with this video. Yeehaw, huh? Okay, so sometimes, my dot is just fine. It isn't that at all. But I wanna show you, like, oftentimes this roosters, they have this little white right here. And I'll show you. So we're gonna just make us some little teeny tail feathers. So I'm mixing this on my board, or on my palette. And then I'm just going to go like this. And this is where they have that little bit of fluff here. Just gonna put a little bit, we don't have to have a lot. And then sometimes I like to put a little bit, well, that looks like he's got a sleepy eye now, but I'm okay with that. He looks kind of bored though. Maybe I don't like that. Maybe that was just too much. He looks like he is bored. So guess what I'm gonna do? Just gonna lift it out. Yeah, I think I liked it before. Usually but it's probably too little of an eye to do that. So just gonna lift it out, and I'm gonna put a little, see, some things work, some things don't, but it's nice to know that you can fix them. You can fix them. We're just gonna cover that right back up, see? In fact, I think I want his eye to come a little bit higher. There we go. And underneath here, it still has a little bit more, just like that. All right, now I got to do a little flicking because, you know, this little hen needs to have some place where he's having a little bit of grass. So we're going to put a little like this. I did this on the white chicken too. Just a little bit. We don't have to overdo it. Now when I go like this, I like to soften the edges. So it's kind of just looks like it's part of the shadow. We'll just put a couple more here and there. We don't need that many. Just a little bit. And I don't like this one. It kind of went crazy. So we'll just put another one this way. Okay, now I'm going to flick just a little bit. So I love flicking, and I'm going to use this dark blue. So I got plenty of it on the palette, and you have to get it the right amount of juiciness so that when you flick, see, you don't have the right amount of juiciness. So when you flick, it'll go. Let's see. Nope, still don't. All right, nice. Yeah, okay, now. So we're gonna flick, just flick a little bit. It's okay if it gets up in the green, in the yellow. That's all we're gonna do. Woo, that's really flicked. But I'm okay with that. Okay, our rooster is done. Now, your job, if you enjoy these videos, is please subscribe, because I hope to have at least, sometimes it'll be a little longer than a week, depending on the week. But that's what my hope is, to do it at least once a week. Again, it won't always be once a week, but pretty close to it. But if you subscribe, I know it's something you enjoy and all my craziness. And I really hope you do. So subscribe, hit the like button. Please make comments on the actual site, because maybe you have something that you would like me to paint and coming up. And I don't just do animals. I do flowers, I do humans, or portrait, but portrait would be, I can do it, but it would take like probably 2 or 3 sessions. I don't know if you want that long, but hey, we can do some fun things. I've got koala bears, I have to do giraffes. I mean, I'm back to the animals, but I've got so many flowers, I can't even tell you, that we could do. So just guide me here. Just let me know what you want to do, and I will be so excited. So have a great evening, and hopefully we'll see you to join us really shortly. Thanks so much.